You've all seen the headlines. If you don't get enough sleep, then your risk increases dramatically for developing Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, cardiovascular problems, mental health issues, cancer. But what if I told you none of this is true?
Page 6.
Introduction.
Introduction.
Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Erickson. I'm a board-certified sleep physician with more than 10 years of experience. I also work as an online educator. I've written 7 books about sleep. And what I do is I help people who've struggled with insomnia, people who've been consumed with an inability to sleep well and function well. And a big reason so many people struggle is the messaging around sleep that is so pervasive today. Think about it. Where did you hear that we should sleep at least 8 hours a day? You probably don't even know. We hear over and over again that if you don't get enough sleep, you will get Alzheimer's disease or cancer or diabetes. But as shocking as this may sound, there's actually no scientific backing for these claims. Now, where does this information come from? From where do we hear these claims over and over again? Well, it really starts with academia. Sleep researchers present studies that show a link between short sleep and some health issue. This is then picked up by mainstream media. It's picked up in the wellness industry. Bloggers repeat these claims, and this is why we are surrounded by them. The notion that we should sleep 7 to 9 hours is also presented by public health agencies like the CDC. But here's the thing, and it may sound impossible for me to say this, there's not a single study that proves that short sleep or insomnia causes a single health issue. So why do we keep hearing this? Well, what we really hear about are associations. What happens so often is that a researcher finds an association, a link between short sleep or insomnia and some health issue. But what explains this very easily is actually reverse causality. Do you think that our health has an impact on our sleep? Clearly it does. The more health issues we have, the more trouble we have sleeping. What's interesting though is that this link is actually stronger for long sleep. What studies consistently show is that somebody who sleeps less than 5 hours has a higher risk of health issues. And similarly, so does a person who reports sleeping more than 7 hours. But what is conveniently not reported is that the link between sleep and health issues is actually much stronger for somebody who sleeps more than 7 hours. In reality, what happens is that health impacts sleep in different ways for different people. Some people with a health issue have trouble sleeping and they report sleeping less. Some people have a health issue which makes them tired and sleepy and they report sleeping more. In reality, it is not sleep that causes health issues. It's that health issues impact our sleep and how we perceive our sleep. So why do we keep hearing this message? Well, the thing is, this message that makes people scared actually benefits everyone in the sleep space. If you think about it, if you're a researcher, you need to get funding, you need to get attention. And unless you can show that what you do means something, then you're not going to get that. As a sleep researcher, it benefits you to find that sleep causes some health issue. Similarly with media. Media needs to report something that gets people's eyeballs. That's how they can sell ads. Also, getting people scared about sleep also helps with selling anything, whether it is the supplements or the medications or the blackout curtains or the gadgets. Anything that makes people scared of not sleeping is a huge motivator when it comes to making a sales decision, making a purchasing decision. Now, I don't believe there's a conspiracy here or malintent. It is just that people really don't understand their own messaging. People in the sleep space don't understand that when you tell people that it is crucial to sleep, that builds an enormous pressure to sleep, which actually creates a lot of trouble sleeping for millions of people in this country alone. Now, why does this messaging matter? It matters to millions of Americans that struggle with insomnia. People like my next guest, Jim. So Jim, tell me, how did you start having trouble sleeping?
Well, it's been so long ago that it started. I can't really pinpoint and get you in the ballpark. But I'm thinking originally when it happened, I didn't realize I was having trouble. I thought maybe I just had a bad night or something. But it's been eight to 10 years ago, I think. It's been that long. And it's got to the point where I'll rarely get more than 2 hours at one time. If I sleep more than 2 hours uninterrupted, I consider that a good night. It might take me 5 or 6 hours to get 3 hours of sleep. It might take me 10 hours. I can be in bed all day long and never get what I feel like is enough sleep, and that's pretty typical. Like I say, it's strange. Before I noticed having sleeping problems, I worked at a factory for 16 years, 12-hour shifts that rotated every week from days to nights. But that didn't really seem to mess me up. Then I came down here, and somewhere along the line, it got harder and harder to sleep. And of course, the harder I try to sleep, the harder it is to go to sleep. So it's just been like that.
What is it that keeps 10 to 20% of the US population locked in a struggle with sleep? Well, it's actually the fear of not sleeping. Here's the thing. When we're stressed, when we're a bit anxious, we all become more vigilant, more alert. That's completely normal. It's just a safety mechanism. Imagine our ancestors living in the wild. When they heard some noise in the bushes, they were supposed to sleep less because that could mean a threat. When we're anxious, we naturally are more alert. Anxiousness creates more wakefulness. But what happens when wakefulness leads to anxiety is we now have a circular problem. The more anxious we get, the more we're awake at night. The more we are awake at night, the more anxious we become. And this circle can keep on and on and on. But the irony is that the more we try to escape the loop, the more trapped we become. And have you heard anything about how much one is supposed to sleep?
Yes.
What have you heard?
I have heard a person my age needs 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
How much do you think you're sleeping?
Yeah, I was going to say that's totally foreign to me. I don't even know what 6 to 8 hours of sleep feels like. Like I say, continuous sleep, I feel like I almost never get more than 2 hours before something wakes me up.
All right. Well, at this point, I would love to share some thoughts on how I view insomnia and what it is and contextualize your story, and then share some thoughts on how one can start this path of like leaving the struggle to sleep and start finding sleep happen easier again. When the messaging around sleep changes and people no longer are told that if they don't sleep enough, they'll have all these health issues, what will happen is that people will no longer be afraid, and then they will find what they've been looking for this whole time, which is peaceful sleep and peace of mind.
For the first time in years, I actually feel like I got some hope. Of a normal life again. It's been pretty much just accepting this as the new normal, and I'm going to be exhausted and depressed and unmotivated for the rest of my life until I die. But it's been a real epiphany. Talking to Daniel showed me a whole new way of thinking about this. It makes me think that maybe I don't have to accept this as the hand I've been dealt. Maybe there's some better things on the way, and that in itself was worth it. If nothing else were to happen. At least he's given me that much, and I'm very grateful just to have that.